Well, at 7 p.m. this evening, Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis will hold a national press conference in view of the fact that Hurricane Milton constitutes an international threat, not only to the security of the state of Florida, but to the northern Bahamas. So I'm going to invite everyone to join Eyewitness News at 7 p.m., where the Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, will make a national address. Broadcasting live from the ILTV studios located here at the University Drive. Welcome once again to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. I'm a Justice of the Peace here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm also honored to tell you that I'm a member of the Holy Roman Catholic Church. And of course, today is Tuesday, the 8th day of October in the year of our Lord 2024. Bradley Roll, praise the Lord, is my spiritual advisor. And while there is plenty thunder outside of the studio,
yes, raining, yeah.
Behold my spiritual advisor, Bradley Roll. Bradley, welcome to Freedom March.
Thank you so much. Good to be here, Senator.
It's been a rainy day.
From Sunday.
But there has been some sunshine.
Yeah.
And based on Bahamian mythology, when there's rain and partial sunshine, it suggests that Satan and his wife is fighting over the pot cake. That's Bahamian mythology.
Yeah.
Well, folks, there's some other interesting thing taking place in the country. Yesterday, a 20-year-old Negro lad living in Seven Hills, notwithstanding that he lives on top of Seven Hills, would you believe that he attempted to commit suicide? It is just horrible what is happening in the country. And then, of course, a 49-year-old Negro man. He was involved in the fighting. He was fighting with two men, one of whom he knows very well. But when it was all over, one of them took a knife and stabbed him. So the police is now preoccupied with that, as there is a national alert warning the northern Bahamas and the entire Bahamas. Let us watch out. We are in the midst of a hurricane season. God save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. God save the King. Hold on, everybody. Get ready. Hurricane coming. We have sinned. Hurricane is coming. We have sinned. That's right. Lord of mercy. Welcome back to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. I'll go straight to my spiritual advisor because we are faced with a very major storm. It's very unprecedented. And of course, according to American authorities, this is perhaps the biggest and the worst storm in 100 years. That's a Hurricane Milton. And of course, the government has issued an alert to the islands in the northeastern Bahamas, and that would be basically Grand Bahama Island, Bimini, and Abaco, to be on guard because Milton may very well constitute a major, major threat. Bradley Roll, if it pleases you, behold the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thanks so much, Sandra. We got a read today from the book of Mark, chapter 9, looking at verses 35 to 41, where a storm would have brewed up some 2,000 years ago, and the good master dealt with the storm in this fashion. The Bible says, sitting down. Did I do, is that the right one? Oh, okay. Anyhow, I think that may be the wrong one. Wow. Yes, it is wrong. Anyhow, let's read it anyhow. That is the wrong one, but let's read it. Sitting down, Jesus called the 12 and said, anyone who wants to be first must be the very last and the servant of all. And so he took a child whom he placed among them, and taking the child in his arms, he said to them, whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me. And Teacher John said, we saw someone driving out demons in your name, and we told him to stop because he was not one of us. Don't stop them. Jesus said, for the one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me. For whoever is not against us is for us. Truly I tell you, anyone who gives you a cup of water in my name because you belong to the Messiah will certainly not lose his reward. Mark 9:35 to 41. I'll read the next one tomorrow at some point. May the word of God forever and ever be blessed. Thanks so much, producer. Back to you, Sandra.
I thank you, my spiritual advisor. Well, folks, we have received reports from the police that yesterday, a 20-year-old Negro lad living somewhere in Seven Hills, as you are aware, is in the Bamboo Town constituency. And this 20-year-old Negro lad, it is alleged that he attempted to commit suicide when he took an over-the-counter drugs. And so apparently they have been successful in getting him medical assistance, and he has been revived. So that is perhaps the second or third report of attempted suicide here in the Bahamas in the last couple of days. And then, of course, yesterday, police has also alerted members of the media that a 49-year-old Negro man, he was involved in a fight with two other Negro people, one of whom he knows very, very well. And in the course of that scrap, one of the men took a knife and stabbed him. And so that is another crime matter that the police will have to now investigate. So they are some of the criminal matters that we are able to report to you. And I'm certain that you would have heard reports that there was a traffic accident at the top of Augusta Street Hill involving two officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and a Negro civilian. We are told that while there has been some injuries, none of the injuries have been life-threatening. And of course, the police is investigating those reports. My spiritual advisor, no observation
No,
on
not
those
at
three.
all. No.
Well, as we talk about crime and the allegation involving this stabbing in the Senate yesterday, one of the opposition senators, Senator Darren Henfield, finally, he, as an FNM, appears to be on the right track. In the course of a debate in the Senate, Senator Darren Henfield has called for the resumption of capital punishment. It is to be noted that that senator did not play politics, for he dealt with the judicial situation that has caused it this particular dilemma that our nation is faced with as a result of a ruling that the Privy Council made perhaps in the year 2006. So this is a very significant contribution in the Senate by Senator Darren Henfield. His call for the resumption of capital punishment should set an example for not only every member of the Senate, but for the FNM as a party. And it is my hope and prayer that the leader of the FNM, that's Michael Pintard, the national chairman, that's Dr. Dwayne Sands, and the shadow Minister of National Security, that would be Shannon Dodd Cartwright, that they would study the speech that was delivered in the Senate by Senator Darren Henfield. Indeed, Darren Henfield must be given an A+, and there's not been that many FNMs in modern times who have done well with their political exam. But Darren Henfield has done the correct thing by looking objectively and without attempting to score cheap political points. So perhaps in the course of the show, we will look at some of the commentary of Senator Darren Henfield, and I think he's on the right track. So I thought it was exciting. My spiritual advisor, I don't know if you had an opportunity to read or to hear what Senator Darren Henfield, who was once the Free National Movement minister responsible for foreign affairs and the member of parliament for Norton Abercorn.
Well, listen, what he actually said in his address or speech should be said by every member of parliament that sits in the parliament today. His thing is that he feels that the Privy Council is very unreasonable in their as it relates to capital punishment, and their findings that you should only hang if it's the worst of the worst. So he feels as if that it's very unreasonable, and the course that the government of Bahamas should take is that, you know, they just need to forget about the Privy Council, get rid of it, and resume hanging, which is something everybody has been saying. You don't mind if I read what he says, or you want to read
No,
it?
my spiritual advisor.
You sure?
My spiritual advisor, you may read what my party
Right.
said. Go ahead.
All of a sudden, that is your party.
I've always proclaimed that I'm an
No,
FNM.
no,
I'm an
I-
FNM who supports the
That's what I tell
PLP.
you. I don't understand. Anyhow,
Go ahead.
so Senator Darren Henfield, he calls for the resumption of hanging. So here's what he says. The Free National Movement, FNM Senator Darren Henfield, yesterday called for a resumption of the death penalty as he criticized the unreasonable standards set by the London-based Privy Council, which make it difficult for executions to take place. Henfield called for the Bahamian Court of Appeal to be the country's final appellate court for murder cases, adding that the Privy Council could be retained to hear appeals in civil matters. He said if this arrangement cannot work, then it is time to get rid of the Privy Council altogether as the final appellate court of the Bahamas. All right, that's what everybody's been saying. So now maybe if the rest of the members of parliament would join with him and put this in action, we could then move forward with trying to resolve our issue as relates to capital punishment and hanging.
Well, in the case of
Why didn't you
Senator,
address it that way?
in the case of Senator Henfield, he must go a step further. First of all, he should draft a bill and present it to the Parliament. The issue of the removal of the Privy Council must be a last resort, for the Privy Council can remain our final court of appeal, but the Parliament is empowered to pass legislation and to compel the Privy Council, if Parliament does it correctly, to uphold the will of the Bahamian people. So Henfield must now consult with an attorney, and he must come with a draft bill. It must be more than just saying that we should resume capital punishment, in view of the fact that he has argued that the Privy Council has prevented the state from executing convicted murderers. So he must come up with a bill that proposes to move the impediments. That is how it ought to be done. And of course, he's on the right track, and it's clear that I should be able to lead him effectively from where I am. So Henfield, you're on the right track. Today you will be given an A+. If you want more A+, you must go a step further. You can't only talk. You must come with a draft bill. Present the bill to the Senate, have it debated, and then move the Senate to the lower chambers. That's assuming that you can't get your colleagues who are members of the lower chambers to introduce the bill. So that is how it is to be done, and I'm very happy to see that this appears to be the first F&M since the years of Hubert Ingram, who appears make it.
You don't use hold things too long, man.
I'm not holding it.
You gotta let things
I
go.
let it go until you bring up his name.
And then the thing about it, Sandra, in all honesty, right, in all fairness to him, do you really think Shannon Dawn would actually allow people to throw things in your yard?
Yes, he did, because when it was drawn to his attention, it was drawn to his attention by...
He's not that kind of person.
That's because you don't know him. It was drawn to his... Yes, I do. It was drawn to his attention by the most senior F&M in the whole of Black Village.
Anyhow, we didn't come to discuss that. So
right?
let's
You're
get
not
back.
Stop me.
Let's get back to Darren.
You're not going to stop me. But go back to Darren Henfield.
Yeah, let's get back to him.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you must applaud him.
I've given him an A+.
And that's the direction, that's the direction,
Yeah, an A+.
That's the direction.
So he must now continue to move forward. He must draft. Darren Henfield, you must draft a bill and introduce the bill. And then you're on the right track. All right? It can't just be talk. You have to talk, and walk the talk. All right? Can't be that. So that is important. That is very powerful. If you cannot find any F&M attorney to assist you, then find yourself a JP, and that would be me. How does it sound?
Okay.
If you can't find no lawyer, find a JP. I'll show you how to draft the bill, and it's very easy to draft bills, and that would be powerful.
Indeed.
So you're finished with that.
Yeah. So let's let folks realize that apparently the weather's really bad, and
We finished with Henfield.
we finished with Henfield. Now I
So
know.
now you want to go to the weather.
No. Well, apparently folks are complaining that we're on and off. I think what's happening is the electricity is being interrupted. So please be patient. While BPL, we need to discuss BPL because they fired my boy,
Who's your boy?
Siobhan Cambridge.
He's your boy.
They fired him,
What his name is?
Siobhan Cambridge.
They should have fired him last week.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. I am
Yeah.
advised that Allison may not fire him. It is the best thing Allison has done in 30 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't think Siobhan was performing as CEO?
I couldn't get.
He wasn't performing?
There were two major things that I requested Siobhan to do.
And that's
on
why he
behalf
should be
of the people.
fired.
Yes. Yes. On Augusta Street, next to the government CCTV, where Vane Monroe, the Minister of National Security, has declared that the CCTV and the electric light helps with national security. And I couldn't get Siobhan to put in the bulb to cut on the light.
And that's why he should be fired. Man,
Yes,
that's something
any
that's
genuine man.
That's
why,
disgusting.
why don't you listen? Why don't you listen?
Wow.
The murder, the execution took place, and we couldn't see it. Don't cost me to talk the government business. If he had put up that light, like we have requested him, we would have seen it. Nice CCTV, but in the dark. Siobhan didn't do it. So that's the first problem. The second problem is, in Black Village is a woman tongue tree. What kind of tree? Woman tongue tree. I took a picture of the woman tongue. I sent him a location marker. And I said to him, we need this woman tongue cut down. And by grab, he half stepped. All right? And that, I declare that tree to be a national security threat to the people of Black Village. All right? I declare it is a national security threat because a gunman has hidden behind that tree, and I want when he come back, he ain't got that tree to hide, but that Negro wouldn't cut it down. Allison, get rid of him. The best thing she's ever done in over 40 years of political power. God save the king. It's powerful. Welcome back to Freedom March. My name is Rodney Monker. Are you paying bills now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, pay
let's-
bills
let's
first.
see. Good. So join us for the Baines and Grandstand Homecoming and Music Festival from October 12th to the 14th and celebrate community heritage and empowerment with live performances, traditional Bahamian games, and the prestigious Cotton Tree Award honoring those who have shaped the Baines and Grandstand community. Plus, 103.5 FM The Beat is your exclusive media sponsor, bringing you all the excitement live. So don't miss out on this incredible celebration. See you there. Looking for a quick getaway? Fly Western Air with daily flights from Freeport to Fort Lauderdale starting at just $290 round trip, including 40 pounds of checked bags. Book your next adventure now at westernAirBahamas.com. Everybody needs money always, so send money internationally and locally through Western Union with MoneyMax. Join the MoneyMax app today to send cash instantly to a family member or friend anytime and anywhere. Sending money has never been simpler. The app is available on the Apple Store and Google Play Store. MoneyMax. Live your max life.
This is powerful.
So we do have a travel advisory from Western Air, and I want to read that while we're doing these ads so that you'll understand what Western Air have to say. So Western Air has released a travel advisory, and it's concerning Hurricane Milton. Western Air says, to our valued passengers, please be advised that the following flights have been impacted by the impending Hurricane Milton. Your safety remains our first priority, and we're monitoring the storm closely. Passengers are being contacted directly, and as always, all passengers are permitted to change their flight without fees or penalties. So October the 9th and 10th, 2024, there are some flight adjustments. Nassau to Fort Lauderdale, flights suspended October 9th, and 10 flights will resume Friday, October 11th. Freeport to Fort Lauderdale, flights are suspended on October the 9th and 10th. Flights resume Friday, October the 11th. Flight times from Nassau to the northern islands such as Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini may be adjusted on the 9th and 10th depending on weather. Passengers will be contacted and reaccommodated. Normal flight operations resume Friday, October the 11th. Contact us at Western Air. Reservations as 242-377-2222 or Freeport office 242-351-3804 or our customer service at cs@westernairbahamas.com. All right, so that's the travel advisory from Western Air. Thank you, Xander. Back to you.
I thank you, my spiritual advisor. Well, at 7 p.m. today, or should I say this evening, Prime Minister Philip Davis will be holding a national press conference. He will be dealing with the intended storm that appears to be just outside our boundaries. If you have been following international news, you will know that the state of Florida is under attack, and that any day now, Hurricane Milton will land in the state of Florida, and there it is projected that there shall be massive devastation. My spiritual advisor, I've been told that wind breeze is like about 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, I believe it may not be a Cat 5 at this moment. They're expecting some strengthening, and there was an advisory that was issued around 12 o'clock today, but
Yes.
we'll look at that probably at about 5 o'clock again.
There has been a hurricane alert for the northwestern Bahamas, the islands of Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini. There is a warning that they should be what? What should they be prepared for, my spiritual advisor?
Well, the screen is off, Mr. Producer. Right. So what they are to prepare for is some tropical storm conditions as it relates to those northern eastern islands, and that's inclusive of Grand Bahama, Abaco,
and
Bimini.
Bimini.
Yeah. So some they could be experiencing some tropical storm conditions within the next 24 to 36 hours. So yeah, they're about 24 to 36 hours.
Meanwhile, here on the island of New Providence, I've not heard any announcement as to where residents are to go in the event of an emergency. Have you heard any place?
No, nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
I know, like I'm telling you, the meteorological department did issue their first alert on Hurricane Milton.
Yes.
And that alert at this present, well, when it was released at 12 o'clock, it didn't give any indication about islands that like say for instance, New Providence and Andros and Long Island, the rest, they didn't give any advisory for those islands, only the northeastern islands.
But even then, they didn't say where one should go in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, so maybe that's going to soon come out because...
Maybe when the Prime Minister speaks tonight at 7 p.m.
So they should have some shelters, prepared and ready for those people in Abaco, Eleuthera, and Bimini so that they can go to, because it does seem as if this storm is a rainmaker, but only that. There's a problem with surging. I don't know how the surge is going to affect the northern islands, but of course, when it hits the west coast of Florida, they're saying that you're looking at between 10 to 15 feet storm surge, which is incredible indeed, which could cause a lot of damage. So let's see what advisory they give for the northern islands of Grand Bahama, Bimini, and of course the Abacos.
And the entire Bahamas.
Not the entire Bahamas.
Are you
Those
saying?
in the southern Bahamas, they don't have any need to worry. Those in the central Bahamas, you see what we're experiencing now? It's on-off rain. And
Am I not living in the central Bahamas?
yes, but I'm saying all we're going to be experiencing is just maybe some little bit of wind and rain. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I have
It'll
a
be
woman.
okay.
I have.
It does appear.
I have a woman who lives in Domingo Height, and she has already complained to tell me that with this rain, her house is leaking. And she told me she doesn't know what to do. She's a senior citizen, and she has begged me to come to her house. She wanted to show me the hole in the roof. So I don't know. I told her I couldn't come because I was heading to the studio, but I would come very, very early. I don't know. Based on what she is saying, it sounds to me like I have to ask Miles LaRota if he have any of those, what you call it, what you put on top of the roof?
Top.
Any top. Yeah, perhaps that's what I'm going to do. Is Miles LaRota still responsible for disaster? Who's responsible for disaster?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, we need to know.
Who would be the minister responsible for disaster?
Yeah. Well, I have a woman living in Domingo Heights. She called me shortly before 3. She's complaining that her roof is leaking and she doesn't know what to do. And she's asked me if I would come to see it. So when I listened to her and I recognized that she's an old woman, I told her, okay, I'll come. Call me 8:30. I'll come, and I don't know what I can find to put on top of that woman's roof. But the woman say her house is leaking, and she don't know what to do, and she decided that the best thing to do was to call me. So I don't know if Monroe has any provision for TAP. After all, he's the minister responsible for national security. Who knows? Maybe when I get to her house, I may call Monroe and say, Monroe, you know something? This constitutes a threat to national security. I may just do that and see whether or not he has any tap someplace in his ministry that he perhaps can give me markers, and then I'll encourage Marcus to go up on top of a roof and see if he can patch the hole. But the woman is complaining, and it sounds so terrible as she complained how it raining plenty down there in Domingo Heights and the roof is leaking and she ain't got nobody to fix this roof. So I'll go see it tomorrow if God spare my life. Anyway, some exciting things happening at BPL. You would recall that under the FNM, the former Free National Movement deputy leader, deputy prime minister, what was his name? My spiritual advisor.
Desmond Bannister?
Desmond Bannister. Desmond Bannister had a jack. And let's call him Brother Rollins. Him and Desmond were tight. And those of us in FNM cycle, we knew that if Desmond was going on a trip, he would take his jack along with him. Well, apparently his jack got fired, and he took out an action in the Supreme Court. And it is a wonderful case that went to the Supreme Court, and it is a wonderful judgment which was issued by the Lord Chief Justice Sir Ian Vinder. I thought I'd read this to you so that we can clearly show this nation the independence of the judiciary. So this is very powerful. A former Bahamas Power and Light Executive Director who alleged he was terminated because of his, quote, perceived political affiliation, end quote, with the FNM and Desmond Bannister has won a near $600,000 payout. Patrick Rollins, Desmond Bannister Jack, yesterday told one of the Negro newspaper, quote, justice prevailed, end quote, after Chief Justice Sir Ian Vinder in a September 30th verdict from the Supreme Court awarded him 100% of his breach of contract claim after finding the state-owned energy monopoly violated his fixed-term employment condition. The former executive director, who earned an annual $180,000 salary prior to his January 21st, 2022 dismissal, alleged in his witness statement that he was warned by the BPL chairman, Pedro Roll, in December 2021 that unidentified members of the Davis cabinet were pushing for both himself and former chief executive Whitney Houston to be removed.
Whitney Hasty.
Who?
Whitney Hasty.
Let me go back to it.
Whitney Houston is the singer. She's
Really?
dead.
Really?
Wow.
Okay, let's go back to it.
Lord, I tell you.
This is powerful.
Oh, Lord. Okay, I'm so sorry for distracting you. I should have just let you just go on ahead.
You ought to.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
You said it's Whitney
Hasty.
Hasty, okay? The spiritual advisor said when I saw Whitney
See
Houston.
right there. Right.
It's Whitney.
Hasty.
Whitney
Mind you,
Hasty.
Hasty is there. But for some strange reason, you're seeing Houston.
I see Houston. Every time I see Whitney Hasty, I see Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
So this is what he was told. Both men had been appointed to their posts by the former minister's administration, and Mr. Rollins had assented. Chairman Roll informed me, that's Rollins, Desmond Bannister Jack, that certain people in cabinet were asking for your head and CEO Hasty's head because you know you are Desmond's boy. He added that Mr. Rollins asked him what sort of compensation he was willing to accept, as BPL would not pay the balance of the 3-year contract. Well, in effect, Sir Ian Vinder, listening to the evidence, and notwithstanding that Rollins say that they suspect he was F&F, Sir Ian Vinder ruled in his favor, awarded him $600,000. Isn't that wonderful? Huh? He got $600,000. And of course, there were other allegations that he made that Sir Ian struck down. But the money, Sir Ian Vinder, our beloved Chief Justice, ignore the fact that he alleged that they regarded him as Desmond Boy, you see? And Sir Ian gave him $600,000. Isn't it powerful? $600,000 BPL is going to have to pay to Brother Rollins, and it's great. So it's a good thing that he has not abandoned Desmond, okay? Most F&Ms would be aware that when Desmond was ill and had to go allegedly to Taiwan and different eastern, wherever Taiwan is, Brother Rollins, they said he was one F&M that you got to count on. Well, his friendship remained fine, and the court is independent, and Sir Ian Vinder awarded him $600,000. It's a glorious day. You see why I'm not afraid to be an F&M? You see why? Because Rollins, who's an F&M, he went to court, and a court constituted under an executive situation. The court ignored who was the prime minister, who was the government, and the court looked at the rule of law. And our brother Rollins, an F&M stalwart, he got $600,000. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that glorious? It is good for the independence of the judiciary. So I thank God that in 2024, we live in a Bahamas where our judiciary is independent, okay? And our courts are not concerned about whether or not you use F&M or PLP. They're concerned about what the law is. So it's a glorious day, and it's just a wonderful job that Sir Ian Vinder is doing. And I'm so pleased with it, particularly as an F&M. I'm pleased with it that members and supporters of my party, the F&M, can go to court, and we don't have to worry. The court ain't into your politics. The court look at, do you have a good claim? Were you treated fairly? And if you were not treated fairly, the court will then give judgment in your favor. So it's a glorious day. It's a great day for the rule of law. So, but there was some allegation that he made that Sir Ian Vinder did strike down. Okay, Sir Ian did strike down. So it's great. So Rollins, he will get and by now everybody would have heard that Hurricane Milton is threatening the state of Florida, and this is going to be perhaps one of the biggest catastrophe to hit the state of Florida in 100.
Casey, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, is scheduled to give a national address tonight at 7 p.m. and it will be streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and of course you could watch it live on the national air carrier of, well, the national, what do you call it?
But you can watch it here on Eyewitness
News
News.
as well, yeah. They definitely, so you can watch it here on Eyewitness. But listen, there has been released the 2024 official hurricane shelter list.
Okay.
All right.
Where do we go who live in Baintown?
Not you. Let's look at Abaco first. All right.
Okay.
Because Abaco.
Go to Abaco.
So in Abaco, if you live in Central District of Abaco, you got the Central Abaco Primary School, which is in Dundas Town. You got Friendship Tabernacle, which is in Dundas Town. You got Guana Key Primary School, which is in Guana Key. You got the Manawar Primary School, which is in Manawar Key. You got the Hope Town Primary School, which is in Hope Town. And of course, you got the Murphytown Community Center, which is in Murphytown. Now, if you're in the North District of Abaco, you have 3 shelters. You got the Amy Roberts Primary Preschool, which is in Green Trail Key. You got the Faith Walk Church of God Community Center, which is in Cooperstown. And of course, you got the Grand Key All-Age Preschool block, which is in Grand Key. Now, if you're in the Southern District of Abaco, you got 4 shelters. You got the Crossing Rock Primary School, which is in Crossing Rock. You got the Moores Island School, of course, that's on Moores Island. Then you got the Sandy Point Community Center, which is Ernest Dean Highway. And then, of course, you got the Soul Seeking Ministry, which is, of course, in Moores Island. Now, let's see. What about Freeport? No. The storm is going to more or less affect East Grand Bahama, right? Central East Grand Bahama or Central?
Well, all I know is the warning is for the Northern Bahamas, and they identify them as Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Abaco.
So if you're in the West Grand Bahama, you got a couple shelters. You got 8 shelters. The Bethany Baptist Church in Hannah Hill. You got the Bethel Deliverance Center in Jonestown. You got the Church of God of Prophecy, Sea Grape. You got the Central Zion Baptist Church in Pinedale. You got the Bethel Baptist Church in Pinedale. You got the Church of God of Prophecy in Pinedale. You got the New Mount Olivet Baptist Church in Holmes Rock. And of course, you got the 8 Mile Rock Gymnasium in 8 Mile Rock. Now, if you're in Central Grand Bahama, you got 16 shelters. You got the Foster B. Prestina Hall of Special Needs Shelter in East Atlantic Drive. You got the Church of Ascension in West Beach Drive and Arden Force Road. You got the Central Church of God, which is on Coral Road and Pioneers Bay. You got First Baptist Church, Columbus Drive. You got Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist Church on Sancombe Road. You got Revelations Apostolic International on Jobson Avenue. You got New Life Worship Center, Coral Road. You got Calvary Temple Assembly of God and Clive Avenue. You got the Bishop Michael Ellen School Auditorium, which is Beach Bay and Gambia Drive. You got the Church of God of Prophecy Community at Hart on Coral Road. You got the Flame of Fire in Williamstown. You got the Universal Household of Faith, Andrews Bay and Grand Bahama Way. You got the Flame of Fire, so you already call that one. You got the Maurice Moore Primary School. That's some Talkers Road and Sancombe Drive. You got First Holiness Church of God in Young Husband Avenue, Miracle Bible Fellowship in Eleuthera Drive, Hawksbill. You got the Sir Jack Haywood Junior High School, Settlers Way. So those are the shelters for Central Grand Bahama and, of course, West Grand Bahama. I'll have to look down to see if I see anything from Bimini. All right, Sandra, we'll be at the end of this segment.
This is Freedom March. God saved the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. God saved the United States of America. Let us pray this storm away. Hurricane Milton is on its way to the United States. The northern Bahamas might be threatened. God save the King. Hold on, everybody. We'll be right back after the break.